You talk to your dog constantly. You narrate your morning. You explain why you are leaving. You tell them about your day when you get home. You ask them questions. You have full conversations with them. And somewhere in the back of your mind, you have probably wondered, what are they actually getting from this? Do the words land? Does any of it mean anything to them beyond the sound of your voice? The science on this is more fascinating than most people expect. And the answer is not simply yes or no. It is layered in a way that changes how you think about every conversation you have ever had with your dog. They are processing more than you think. The assumption most people operate with is that dogs hear sounds and respond to tone, that the words themselves are largely noise, and what the dog is actually tracking is the emotional quality of how something is delivered. That assumption is partially correct, but only partially, and the part it misses is what makes this genuinely interesting. A landmark study from Eötvös Loránd University in Budapest used fMRI scanning to examine how dogs process human speech. The finding was striking. Dogs process language using the same hemispheric division as humans. The left hemisphere handles word content, the semantic meaning of what is said. The right hemisphere handles emotional tone, the feeling behind how it is said. And critically, the reward center of the dog's brain activates most strongly when both are present simultaneously. A praise word delivered with flat affect produces a measurably weaker reward response than the same word delivered with genuine warmth. A warm tone wrapped around a neutral word produces a partial response. The full neurological reward fires when the content and the feeling align. Your dog is not just hearing your tone. They are processing the words and the tone together, in parallel, and integrating both into a single response. That is not a conditioned reflex. That is something meaningfully closer to comprehension than most owners have ever given their dog credit for. What the words actually mean to them. So if dogs process word content, how many words do they actually understand? And what kind of understanding are we talking about? The research here is extensive and the numbers are surprising. Border Collies have been documented with vocabularies exceeding 1,000 words. The average well-trained domestic dog reliably understands between 100 and 200 words. But understanding in this context means something specific. It means the word reliably activates a consistent internal response that guides behavior. What dogs understand is not grammar. They do not follow the structure of a sentence or parse complex instructions. What they understand is the emotional and behavioral significance of specific words within a context they have experienced repeatedly. Walk means something because it has been paired with the experience of walking hundreds of times. Good means something because it has been paired with positive outcomes consistently. Their name means something because it has been directed at them, with attention and connection, more times than any other word in their experience. The words that carry meaning for your dog are the ones that have accumulated emotional weight through repetition and context, which means the vocabulary your dog understands is, in a very real sense, a map of the relationship. It is built from the words you have used most consistently, in the most emotionally significant moments across the entire history of your time together. What they hear when you are happy, when you are genuinely happy, when the warmth in your voice is real rather than performed, when the positive emotional state in your body matches the positive content of what you are saying. Your dog receives something that goes well beyond the words themselves. Positive emotional states produce specific changes in vocal tone, breathing pattern, facial muscle activation, and body chemistry that your dog processes simultaneously through multiple sensory channels. The higher pitched, slightly faster, softer quality that human voices naturally take on when expressing genuine affection, what researchers call dog-directed speech, produces measurable neurological responses in dogs. Heart rate decreases. The reward centers activate. The nervous system shifts toward the parasympathetic state associated with safety and ease. Your dog does not just hear that you are happy, they feel it. The happiness enters their nervous system through the sound of your voice and changes their physiological state in real time. When you speak to your dog in a genuinely warm, positive register, not performed, not habitual, but actually felt, you are giving them something that lands in their body as safety, as connection, as the confirmation that the most important person in their world is okay. What they hear when you are upset. This is the side most owners never think carefully about, and it is the one that matters most for the quality of daily life you are creating for your dog. When you are stressed, your voice changes in ways that are imperceptible to most humans, but fully legible to a dog. The cortisol elevation that accompanies stress alters your scent. The tension in your body changes your posture and movement. The slight sharpening of vocal tone, the faster speech rate, the reduced prosodic warmth, All of these register in your dog's nervous system as a threat signal. Your dog does not understand what you are upset about. They do not follow the narrative of the problem or the logic of the frustration. What they understand is that the person their nervous system is calibrated to is in a dysregulated state, and because they are co-regulators, because their nervous system rises and falls with yours, they carry your stress in their body, whether they have any reason for it or not. This is why dogs in chronically stressed households show elevated cortisol themselves, not because anything is directed at them, because they are continuous monitors of the emotional environment they inhabit, and they cannot selectively tune out the person they are most attuned to. What your dog hears when you are upset is not the content of what you are saying. They hear the emotional weather of it, and they live inside that weather, whether they chose to or not. What they hear when you use their name. We have covered this in previous videos, but it belongs in this conversation because it is the single most emotionally loaded piece of language in your dog's entire experience. Their name is not just a label, it is an accumulation. Every time their name has been spoken, in every emotional context, across every interaction since the day they came into your life, all of that is compressed into the 3 seconds it takes to say those 2 syllables. The name carries the emotional history of the relationship encoded in a single sound. When you say your dog's name with genuine warmth, the way you might say it when you catch them doing something endearing, or when you arrive home and they are the first thing you want to acknowledge, the neurological response is distinct. Attention orients. The reward system activates. The emotional content encoded in the name over years of accumulated experience fires. When you say their name sharply, as a prefix to correction, Max. No, stop that. The same encoded history fires, but the current emotional signal contradicts it. Over time, repetition of this pattern erodes the name's positive charge, and a dog that has heard their name used this way consistently enough will begin to show a subtle stress response to hearing it, a flinch, a slight lowering of the head, before a single word of correction has been delivered. Your dog's name is the most precious piece of language in the relationship. Use it like it is. What they hear in the quiet moments here is the dimension of dog-human communication that is almost never discussed. And it may be the most significant of all. Your dog hears you even when you are not speaking to them. The ambient sound of your voice, talking on the phone, talking to other people in the household, talking to yourself while you work, is a continuous source of information and regulation for your dog. Research found that dogs, left with recordings of calm human speech, showed measurably lower heart rates and more resting behavior than dogs left in silence. The voice does not need to be directed at them to produce a regulatory effect. What this means is that your dog is always listening. Not to the content, they are not parsing your phone conversations or following the plot of your discussions. They are listening to the emotional signature of your presence, the rhythm of your speech, the quality of your tone, the general emotional weather of the sounds you make moving through your day. When that ambient sound is warm, calm, and consistent, when the background audio of your household is generally regulated, your dog's nervous system uses it as a continuous signal that everything is okay, that the anchor is present, that the day is safe, and when it is not, when the ambient sound carries tension, sharpness, dysregulation, they carry that too, silently, continuously in their cortisol. What this means for how you speak to them. Understanding what your dog actually hears changes the texture of daily communication in practical and important ways. Say their name only when it is going to be followed by something positive. When you praise them, mean it. The research is clear that genuine emotional warmth produces a richer neurological response than performed praise. When you are having a hard day, be aware that your dog is carrying your emotional weather whether you direct it at them or not, and talk to them, not just to instruct or command. Talk to them because they are listening in a way that nobody else in your life is. They are hearing more than you think. Make it worth listening to. Your dog has been listening to you every day of their life with you. Not just to your words, to your whole self. The least you can do is speak to them like they are worth being heard by. Drop a comment. I read every single one. Subscribe. New video every week. See you next time.